They took the command from first minute until the last minute. They were feeling alive, they were active, they wanted it. They ran those extra meters, every duel they went in, they wanted to win it. When they were attacking, they were convinced, they took the initiative. You could see every pass they did was like, we want this.
2 unbeaten teams, 1 tournament, 90 minutes to settle it. On paper, this was supposed to be the real final, the meeting people had circled since the draw was made. The most explosive attack left in the competition against the meanest defense anyone had built in years. And when the whistle finally went, one of these 2 teams simply vanished. Not the team most people expected.
Did France really build up all that hype just to get to the semis, to lose to Spain in the most embarrassing manner ever? These guys were outplayed and outclassed in every phase of the game, even while playing all their star players. Bro, you can't make this up. This has got to be the biggest shock of the tournament.
This is Ball Archive, and this is the full story of the 2026 World Cup semi-final between France and Spain. The penalty that split the football world, the referee who couldn't stay out of the headlines, the teenager who ran the show without scoring, and the quiet end of a 14-year era in the Texas heat. To understand how strange this result felt, you need to understand how each side walked in. France arrived looking close to unstoppable. Didier Deschamps had a front line that read like a dream sheet. Kylian Mbappé as captain and tournament top scorer, Ousmane Dembélé cutting infield from the right, Michael Olise floating through the middle, Bradley Barcola stretching the left touchline, and on the bench, Desiree Doué and Ryan Cherki, 2 players good enough to start for almost any other nation on the planet. France hadn't just won matches. They'd bulldozed a group featuring Senegal, Iraq, and Norway without breaking stride, then swept past Sweden, Paraguay, and Morocco in the knockouts without conceding once. 6 games, 16 goals for, 2 against. Statistically, this was the most complete attacking side left in the tournament.
Spain's road looked nothing like it. They opened with a flat, goalless draw against Cabo Verde that had a few people quietly worried. Then it clicked. 4 goals put past Saudi Arabia, a tight 1-0 over Uruguay, a clean 3-0 win over Austria in the round of 32, a 1-0 grind past Portugal in the round of 16. Their backline hadn't leaked a single goal until the quarterfinal.
The defensive part of the game in Spain is very important. You can see Spanish players always carrying the game a bit more than others. Now is a bit more different. I'm talking about 10 to 15 to 20 years ago.
When Belgium's Charles de Ketelaere finally got one past them, the only goal Spain had conceded all summer, that was the wall standing in France's way. Luis de la Fuente had built his side around control rather than chaos. Rodri setting the rhythm from deep, Pedri drifting between the lines, Fabian Ruiz and Dani Olmo stitching it all together. And out wide, the player who'd become the face of the sport this year, 19-year-old Lamine Yamal, fire against ice. That was the matchup. Before a ball was even kicked, the story had already started. Reports circulated that Yamal had suggested it should be France who feared Spain, not the other way around. It was exactly the kind of line that turns a semi-final into a grudge match, and the media ran with it hard. The French squad mostly refused to engage. Yamal himself later said the comment had been twisted, lost somewhere between translation and repetition. Believe him or not, the psychological jab landed before kickoff. This wasn't a neutral fixture to begin with. Spain had already eliminated France at the Euro 2024 semifinal and beaten them in a Nations League thriller. There was history here, and there was an edge.
Deschamps made 2 key calls. Aurélien Tchouaméni was risked back into the starting 11 after an injury scare, his most important ball winner, and Barcola started ahead of Doué on the left. It was also a landmark night for Mbappé personally, his 21st World Cup appearance, moving him past Hugo Lloris as France's most capped player in tournament history. Tchouaméni, meanwhile, was earning his 50th cap. Spain had no fitness worries at all. De La Fuente simply sent out his strongest possible 11, the machine that had strangled every opponent in front of it. And that was the tactical puzzle the football world had been chewing over for a month. How do you stop a front 4 this fast? Spain's answer was the boldest one available. They weren't going to try to outscore France. They were going to refuse to give them the ball at all, starve the fire before it could catch.
And like I said before the game, football won today. This was a good game. Yes, France, I believe they can do more. They should have done more. But these two teams deserve to be, either of them should have been in final, and Spain is in the final.
Everyone expected this game to live or die in the center of the pitch. Spain's whole rhythm runs through Rodri, the metronome who decides when the tempo rises and when it stalls to a crawl. France's answer was supposed to be Tchouaméni, the one genuine ball winner in the side, shielding Rabiot and the back four so Mbappe and Dembélé could be sprung the second possession changed hands. The problem, to win the ball back, the other team first has to give it away. For 90 minutes, Spain simply didn't.
But before the goals, the officiating needs its own chapter, because it was a story from minute one. Ivan Barton of El Salvador took charge, and he was under scrutiny inside the first 10 minutes. In the 9th minute, Adrien Rabiot went into Dani Olmo and picked up a yellow. Fair enough on its own. Minutes later, Olise committed a foul several observers felt was worse, and nothing was given. That inconsistency lit a fuse. Spanish fans weren't happy, and the trolls watching around the world started noticing a pattern. Plenty of comments online suggesting this particular referee seemed to attract controversy whenever he took a big match. 10 minutes in, and the man in the middle was already part of the story.
Then came the moment that decided the match and split opinion clean in half. Around the 22nd minute, Yamal drifted into the box, a half step ahead of French left-back Lucas Digne, back-turned, swung a leg to clear, and caught Yamal flush on the thigh and hip. Down went the teenager. Barton pointed to the spot instantly. France protested on two fronts. First, that Yamal had touched the ball with his arm moments earlier, which should have wiped the whole passage out. Replays did show the ball passing close to his arm. Second, quieter complaint, Digne himself barely protested the call, which told its own story. So who was right? Former FIFA referee Christina Unkel broke down the footage for ITV and concluded the contact was on Yamal's sleeve, not his arm. And under the laws of the game, sleeve contact isn't treated the same as arm contact. No handball, penalty stands. Gary Neville took a different angle, pointing the finger at Digne instead, arguing that against a player as dangerous as Yamal, you cannot afford to lose track of where he is, and that Digne had closed his body off and simply lost him. Chris Sutton made a similar point on the BBC. Digne went to volley the ball and volleyed the striker's hip instead. And here's a pattern worth noting. This wasn't the first penalty of its kind in the tournament. Croatia's Luka Modric and England's Harry Kane had both been punished for near-identical incidents earlier this summer. 3 times now, a defender with his back turned had caught an attacker arriving a fraction of a second earlier.
3 times the whistle went. The officials had been consistent all tournament, which is exactly why this call, unlucky as it felt for Digne, was so hard to argue with in the end. Mikel Oyarzabal stepped up, cool as you like, and buried it low into the corner. 1-0 Spain, his 5th goal of the tournament. For France, that lead was close to a nightmare. They hadn't trailed in a single match all tournament, and the history was ugly. Only twice ever has a team come back from behind at halftime to win a World Cup semi-final, and France had never done it themselves. It got worse. Around the half-hour mark, centre-back William Saliba went off injured, replaced by Maxence Lacoste, forcing a defensive reshuffle at the worst possible time. France pushed for an equalizer and found only a wall. Robin Lenormand and the young Pau Cubarsí, shutting down every counter before it could breathe. Mbappe flickered a couple of times, but never truly ignited. Halftime. Spain 1, France 0. 45 minutes stood between France and the end of a golden generations tournament, and between Spain and their first final in 16 years.
Spain reached the FIFA World Cup final after 16 years, defeating France 2-0. In the match played at Dallas Stadium, Mikel Oyarzabal scored the first goal in the 22nd minute. Pedro Porro then added the second goal in the 58th minute. This is Spain's second appearance in a World Cup final.
Deschamps moved fast. Rabiot, still carrying that early yellow, was pulled at the break and replaced by Manu Kone. Fresh legs, no disciplinary cloud, 45 minutes to save the summer. Then, in the 57th minute, Deschamps went to the bench again, bringing on Désiré Doué for the quiet Barcola. A minute later, Spain killed it. It came from an unlikely source. Right-back Pedro Porro exchanged a give-and-go with Dani Olmo, kept running into the box, took the return pass in stride, and side-footed it past the keeper. 2-0. With Mbappe, Yamal, Dembélé, and Olise all on the pitch, it was a fullback who delivered the killer blow. France had conceded twice all tournament coming in, Now they'd shipped the same number in under an hour. That goal broke the game open. Deschamps kept throwing attacking changes at it. Cherki on for the ineffective Elise, later Theo Hernandez on for Dean, but none of it landed, because Spain weren't sitting deep and inviting pressure. They were simply keeping the ball at the other end of the pitch. You can't break down a defense you never get to look at.
This is the detail that will define how this match gets remembered tactically. What Spain did to Kylian Mbappé. The tournament's top scorer finished the night with the fewest touches of anyone on the pitch. Full stop. Spain crowded him in every transition, closed every pocket before it opened, and made sure the one thing he needs, space to run into, never existed. His frustration finally spilled over in the 86th minute, a rash foul on goalkeeper Unai Simon that earned him a yellow. That booking said everything. The most dangerous forward on the planet reduced to fouling a keeper because there was nothing else left to do. Spain nearly made it 3. Late on, Yamal curled a gorgeous finish into the net, ruled out for offside. It would have ended any argument entirely. As it stood, 2 goals were more than enough, because France never threatened to close the gap. For Yamal personally, it was the kind of night that turns a rising star into a permanent fixture in the conversation. He won the penalty, he set up the second, he'd have a goal of his own if not for the flag. Even without his name on the score sheet, he shaped almost every moment that mattered.
The stats make it feel almost unfair. France, the most feared attack left in the competition, managed roughly 3/10 of an expected goal from 10 shots, only 3 on target, and most of those arrived late, once the result was already decided. Spain took 2 shots on target all night. Both went in. That's not luck. That's a team taking exactly what it needs and nothing more. Several analysts called it one of the most complete defensive performances of the entire tournament, neutralizing a star-studded attack without ever looking stretched, then punishing the 2 chances they actually took.
Let's tie the loose threads together, because these will get argued about for a long time. The penalty, soft in feel, but legitimate by the letter of the law. The contact was on the sleeve, not the arm. No handball, and consistent with how the same scenario had already been ruled against Mudryk and Kane earlier in the summer. Unlucky for Digne.
It became a talking point in a match that, at 2-0, arguably shouldn't have needed one. The war of words. Yamal's pre-match comments, reported as bulletin board material, softened afterward as a mistranslation. In the end, he let his football do the arguing. A penalty won, a goal created, a goal disallowed by inches. If France really were supposed to fear Spain, the scoreboard didn't exactly argue against it.
There's a bigger story sitting underneath all of this, and it belongs to one man on the touchline. Didier Deschamps has led France for 14 years. He lifted the World Cup as manager in 2018. He took them to a penalty shootout for the trophy again in 2022. This tournament was already signaled as his final campaign in charge, and by all appearances, this was the last knockout match of his reign. It didn't end with a roar. It ended in a strange, flat silence, a team overflowing with talent that couldn't build a single meaningful attack until it no longer mattered. France still have the third-place playoff to come. For a squad this talented, that's cold comfort.
For Spain, this is a return to the summit. Their first World Cup final since 2010, the only title in their history. 16 years in the making, built by a manager who trusts control over chaos. They now wait to see who survives the second semi-final. Argentina against England. Messi against Kane. 24 hours after this one. Whoever comes through will already know exactly what's waiting for them. A team that doesn't need the ball to hurt you and won't hand it back when you need it most. Fire against ice, and the ice won. The way it seems to keep winning against these opponents. That's the story of the game that was supposed to be the real final and turned into no contest at all. Was that penalty a fair call? Or did Digne get caught by a rule most fans didn't even know existed? Drop it in the comments. I read every one. This has been Ball Archive. If you want the deep dive on the final, subscribe, because we'll be back before kickoff.